Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com, and today I am coming to you from a different location. I'm actually in Stanchfield, Minnesota because we are on a crafting retreat. Not everyone is here yet. There's just, what, 5 of us? There's 5 of us here. I'm going to flip the camera around, but before I do that I want to show you what we're going to make. We're going to make the, oops, it's upside down. There we go. This cute little fishy guy. Hey Kathy. And it's made from an envelope. That's it. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to get started, okay? All right, let's get you in the stand here. How are you doing, Kathy, or Kim? Oh, Kim is there too. Hey, Kathy and Kim are live with me. Who else is out there? Is my friend Julie, who's at the retreat with us? she's gonna try to come in with us on her phone while I'm broadcasting here. I'm just gonna shove this over just a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing. All right, so this is the little guy that we're gonna make, and I want to first show you the wonderful treat that I got that inspired this project. I was on an incentive trip, one of Stampin' Up's incentive trips, and I did not get this as a swap and was just kind of sad because I was seeing it on display. And I was studying it and flipping the little container around and looking at everything, trying to figure out how to make this guy. And Ann Oshiro from Hawaii, another demonstrator, came up to me and she said, I see you like that. And I said, I'm loving it. And she goes, do you want an extra one? And I said, yeah. So she gave me her extra one. I was so excited. And this is what she made. And you can see that it holds a pretty large treat. This is like a little Rice Krispie bar. So thank you, Anne. I am now going to share with you how to make him. So you're going to take an envelope, and I'm just using the standard medium-sized envelope that we sell in the online store. Hey, thanks, Faith. And what you'll want to do is lick it and stick it shut. So I had to do that off camera because you didn't want my face to come in upside down, did you? All right, so we've got our stuck shut envelope. And now we're going to cut it to a square size. So right now you can see on my paper trimmer that this envelope is 4 3/8 inches in this direction. So I want to make sure that it's square, and I'll bring the edge here over to the 4 3/8 section. So, okay. Anybody want to go outside? Someone just showed up who will be loud when she comes in. So, all right, after you do that, you're going to take and do a little score line on the diagonal, and it goes like this. So you can go either corner, corner to corner. So we're going to set it up so that this corner is lined up with this corner down here. And you can see how it's right in that little groove. That's what the blade goes through. We're going to move the cutting blade out of the way. Hey Julie, how are you? Hey Darcy, thanks. And we're just going to move the scoring blade straight up and down so that we've got a nice crease going diagonally on here, okay? And I'm going to keep the open side of the envelope on the right side, and this is going to become the fin part of my fish. So this side here is also going to get cut open a bit. To do that though, we're going to need to make a couple score lines, or not score lines, cut lines from here up and from here down. So let's start by taking the corners. Hey Stacy. We're going to take the corners. This corner here we'll start with, and we're going to line it up with the 1-inch mark here on our trimmer. So we're just going to shove it down until we see that 1-inch mark with the corner. And then we'll make sure that this corner is also, let me move that in a little bit, that this corner is also on that same groove. So we still have it lined up there, but we're starting at the 1-inch mark. We're going to lift this little arm up, bring our cutting blade back in, and now we want to go from that corner 1.5 inches in. So 1 inch plus 1.5 inches is going to make us come down at 2.5 inches here. And that's where you're going to start your cut. Hey Sandy, I'm glad that you came. All right, so we're going to start there and we're going to push out and away. It's easiest if you start in the middle of the envelope and then cut away, because if you push into a corner like that, you can actually, mess up that corner. So now we want to do the same thing to the other corner. And right now, if you can see here with the lighting, it's not at an even whole number inch mark. So let's just move it up to that 7-inch mark. And we're going to make sure that this still stays at the diagonal in the channel, corner to corner. But now this bottom corner is at the 7-inch mark. And from 7 inches and an inch and a half in, we're gonna go to, oh, I bet you guys can hear me better right now. The heater just went off. From 7 inches, an inch and a half in, we would go to the 5.5-inch mark, okay? Hey, Cindy. All right, so we're gonna start at 5.5 inches and we're gonna move on down. Can you guys hear me better now? That heater is very loud. Okay, so now we've got 2 cuts there and we're gonna take it out of our trimmer for just a minute. We're gonna grab our pencil and we're gonna make a little tick mark here and here. And I did that on the right side of the score line. So here's the score line and I made sure that my pencil marks are on the right side of it. And I'm just marking where that cut starts on each side so that it's easier to see when we bring it back into the trimmer again. So now we're going to use this corner, and this is the corner that is connected with our open side of our envelope. So you'll want to make sure that you do that side. That one is going to be lined up diagonally with this corner down here. And oops, not yet, sorry, we're not going to do that cut yet. We're going to actually do this corner to this pencil mark. Got to stick with the method here that okay, there we go. So that pencil mark you can see in the channel of the trimmer, and then this corner you can see in the channel. So we're going to start with our cutting blade right down there. Oh, good. Thanks, Kim. And we're going to push from that mark on up and out. And if you don't get all the way to your score line here, you can always come in later on and trim that out, okay? We'll just leave that for now. And we're going to do another one from this point to this pencil line. So make sure that that's lined up. And I can see I was a little off on this last cut, but that's okay. We can just trim it up a little bit. Okay, so now you can see that little pencil mark in there, and you can see that that corner is lined up there. So we're going to shove the cutting blade right to that spot and push up and away. Okay, now we can come with our scissors and quickly just snip out anything that didn't get cut all the way, like that. And you're also going to have some extra little envelope pieces because you have this flap here. So when you come in, you can take and remove some of this if you need to. You'll see what I mean. So let's go ahead and trim from this score line now out to that point. So we're going to line up the 2 corners this way. And instead of doing a score line this way, we're going to start at the score line here that we made going the other direction and push up and out. Just like that. Okay, and this is where we might have some extra little envelope strands. Oh, we don't have them. Okay, awesome. Now we get to decorate this guy. So you have your envelope pouch ready to go. This is where you would insert your treats, but you'll want to decorate it when it's still flat. So this is what I'm bringing in. I'm going to bring in some paper from our Eastern Palace Designer Series paper. And here are the measurements that you'll need. So why don't we go ahead and take the screenshot if you do that. If you've seen my videos before, I always share the little measurements here on a piece of paper so you can take a quick screenshot. And then I have time to throw stuff away. So the Eastern Palace Designer paper, 2 strips that are 1 1/4 by 6 1/2. And then we're going to have some scraps, black paper and some Island Indigo that coordinates with that paper, and that's what we're going to punch the circles from for the eyeballs. And then we also have some gold metallic edge ribbon and some mini sequin gold trim, okay? So those are those items right there. Hopefully you all got a screenshot of that. Let's go ahead and get our adhesive in here. So super strong adhesive is what I recommend for this next step. You'll want to go from that point up there on the left side of the score line all the way down to that point. You'll want to cover that whole section there with your tear and tape adhesive. And I'm going to trim this off so it has a nice clean cut. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. I'll just stick that on there. So the other side needs that adhesive as well. And again, corner straight right up to that edge. You want to make sure you get right up to that edge because this is what the sequin trim is going to stick to. And it has to be a strong adhesive or it's just going to fall right off. So now you can go ahead and use your fingernail or the back of a bone folder or whatever. There we go. It's nice and tight. We'll peel off the backing of that adhesive, and then we'll grab the sequin trim. And there is a right side and a wrong side to this. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this before, but there's a really shiny side, and then there's the side where you can see the thread. So you want to make sure that the thread side is down, and you'll bring it right on top of that sticky tape, just like this. And press it really firm, and then you can take your scissors and snip the end and do the same thing to the other side. And make sure that you're not taking the backing off of both sides, because you're going to have to press down on one side to make sure that that sequin trim is stuck. And if you have your adhesives backing off of both sides, you can't do that. All right, perfect. So now, and I got lucky on that because I was just telling you to do something and I kind of almost made a mistake. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it was sticky over here, but this is raised up enough where it didn't stick to my paper. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead. I think I'm a little more nervous than normal because I have people that are live with me in the room, and, and they're being so nice and polite and quiet. All right, now we're gonna need some regular, actually let's use our fast fuse adhesive. So you want to use really strong adhesive on your fish because it's going to be a 3D container and it's going to kind of bend out like this. And if you have just regular snail adhesive and you have that curve to it, it's going to pop off a lot. So you want to make sure that you have nice strong adhesive. And I find that this fast fuse is easy to put on, so that's why I'm going to use that. But you could use more of the tear and tape adhesive if you want to. So now I have the sticky on this side here, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm using this sticky on this side, and this sticky is going to connect to the paper on this side. So you just slip it right up against your sequin trim like this, and we're good to go. And then we'll trim up the edges of that. There we go. And this one. Okay, and then do the same thing to the other side. This time I have to peek really quick. So this is the direction that I want the fins or the scales to be going. So I'm going to put the sticky tape on this side because I've already got some that is situated on right here next to the sequin trim. So we'll stick that there. I am so grateful that this broadcast is actually lasting. We're not getting any interruptions. And I thought up here in northern Minnesota, well, it's not really northern Minnesota, but further north than where I live, that we were going to have some issues. And we're still with each other. Yay! Yes, I know, Darcy. Oh, the good tips? Thank you. I thought you were commenting on the project because I am so enamored by this. This is the cutest little container ever. So I'm so glad that she gave me one so I could copy it. And now for this tape, you can just run your fast fuse along one side of it, or again, you could use your tear and tape adhesive. And you'll want to go the whole length of that 6.5 inch piece there. I'm laughing because the heater is on again, so hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, so we're going to lay this right down on here. And then we'll trim that. I hope that you all have a scissors that you designate for your ribbon, because paper can dull your scissors. So that's why I keep flipping back and forth.
I do.
Yay, Grace does. Yay. And then we're going to take this and do it to the other side. You want to decorate both sides of your fish. So we'll lay that right there. Oops, did I get adhesive all the way? You know what, I didn't get it all the way on there, so hang on a minute. I gotta get it all the way on there or it's gonna have some fraying issues. Okay, there we go. Hey, my mom is watching. Sometimes I notice when people are going live with me and I can see my mom's name across the screen. Didn't mean to rat on you, Mom, but thanks. Glad that you're watching. How are you? Okay, so now we've got our fish, and this is obviously the back side because you can see the closure of the envelope there. So, you know, just keep that in mind when you're putting together your fish, that you want your good side to be, you know, in the front. So we're going to punch out 2 of these circles, and these are 3/4 inch size circles. I think they're perfect for this size envelope. And then from the, oops, hang on, I did that wrong. Good thing I have a lot of scraps. We want to do the 1/2 inch size for the black. There we go. Well, those will have to go on some other fish. And then we want to do the 3/4 inch size for this one here. Okay, now we can take our sticky adhesive, or you can even take like glue dots. Let's do glue dots. Those will go quicker. Because you're going to need to use glue dots again soon. There we go. See how quick those are. So now we've got our little fishy eyeballs on one side and on this side. Now a little tip with the eyeballs is that when you put them on doing the next tip that I'm going to give you with paper, with designer paper, you can actually put the eyeballs on the paper before you put them on the fish. But here, you kind of have to just guess. So we're going to guess to see where that eyeball goes, and hopefully we'll get them pretty even. Oh, let's position it up a little higher. There, it looks pretty good, right? And then the last step is to use your glue dots again, and we're going to just peel off one of them. You can actually maybe even use 2. And we're going to put a glue dot on the back, sort of in the middle. So between where the score line was and the tip, you're just going to put a glue dot there, and you're going to overlap like that. And that creates the little closure. Let's try that on the other side here too. Oh, thanks, Kim. Okay, and then this one comes down this way. And you can see here that when you open and close this, it kind of stays, oh, this is, you know what, let's do this, because this guy is peeling away here. Let's just trim this out a bit. We don't need that on there. That envelope piece didn't get glued down all the way. I could have added not only my licky stick when I stuck the envelope shut, but I could have put like snail adhesive on there. That probably would have helped. There we go. Now he'll stay. So this actually will stay shut. So if I put like another Rice Krispie treat or something in there, this is going to hold shut. Now if it doesn't, if you have a really heavy treat, you can always put a glue dot between the 2 fins to make sure that it's nice and secure. So here's my tip for the other fish. I have another one done here. This guy, isn't she pretty? Or this girl? I'm going to call her girl because she's got all that glitz on her and some pink. But she was made using a square piece of designer paper. So instead of 2 strips, I used a square piece, and then I just trimmed it diagonally in half. So I went from corner to corner, and then I just covered, you can see here, I covered this side of the fish with one piece and the other side with the other piece. And it doesn't matter what size square you use. Oh, thank you, Kathy. It doesn't matter which size square you use, because you could have your designer paper go further in or further out. You just want to make sure that it's not, you know, too much bigger than the actual edge of the envelope. This piece here is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that's really a good size for the medium-sized envelopes. So what I was saying with the tip about the eyeballs is, if you're using a piece like this and you're putting your eyeballs on here and on here, you can have them right next to each other and stick the eyeballs down before you paste it onto your fish. So there's that little tip. And then I want to show you a couple more things here. These are some fish that I did with the paper pumpkin kit from December, and that's what triggered me wanting to show this a little bit more, because I got a good response from that, and thought more and more people would need to see how these cute little fish are done. So these are done with the square envelopes from that December paper pumpkin kit. They had square envelopes in it. And it's the same idea, where you'd take that envelope, you'd lick it and stick it shut, and then you of course do the diagonal, and eventually when you're doing those other cuts out to make the fin, those two edges are going to be, you know, cut out anyways. So it doesn't matter what size envelope you use, as long as you're preparing it to be square and you've got two closed sides for the front of the fish. So here is my square envelope that I've stuck shut, and then I put it in my scoring, my paper trimmer, and I scored it, and then I made the little marks, and I already cut one away. So you can see it still works with the square. So then you can use different sizes too. This is one of our smaller envelopes. This was done with our note card size envelope, and it's the same idea. You're just going to cut your square. So you would measure this direction, and then you make sure that this direction is the same, and then you of course cut in a bit and then cut out and cut your fin to be separated. So that would be the smaller one. That would be the note card size. And we have these wonderful little tiny 3x3 envelopes, and these are sold separately from note cards, so you wouldn't have to buy like a pack of note cards and envelopes to get this. You know, you could just buy a bunch of these 3x3 ones and have some really tiny mini fish. The size of the circles, sorry Kathy, just saw your question. The size of the gold circles on this fish, they are 1 inch circles. And it was a guessing game, by the way. So I kind of measured out how far away they'd need to be from each other and just started laying them down. And then I'd have to pick them up and reposition them. So they're not perfectly 1 inch apart between each other. There's a little gappage between them, but it worked out. And then, so I had 6 on one row and 5 on the other, and then the same thing on this side. So back to that 3x3 card. This is the little fish that I made from the 3x3. It's a pink fish because it's, you know, showing that you put little Valentine treats in it. So if you're looking for another cute, impressive idea to have your kids bring for Valentine's Day to school, then you can do these tiny little 3x3 envelopes and just put some treats in them like that. Very fun. And you could write to on the fin and from on the other fin. And then the last size envelope that we have, it's new, it's in our occasions catalog. It's this long, narrow one, and it's really tiny. So you would get the smallest little size fish from this one. So let me just layer them all on top of each other so you can see the different sizes. I don't think I have, oh, I have the finished one here of the 3x3. So I'll just layer these onto each other like this. So you can see all the varying size fish that you can make. Lots of different sizes. So now this is written on just a piece of note paper. Oh yes, Rita, I love that idea. Yes, you could make your own envelopes and then make the fish from those envelopes using the envelope punch board. Smart girl. So this is really ratty and just written on a piece of Post-it note, but I did 1.5 inches in for the largest envelope. I did 1 1/8 inch in, and I'm talking about these little marks here, these cut marks. So this is 1.5. On this size envelope, you would do 1 1/8. On the 3x3, you would do 1 inch. And on the tiny little narrow card, you would do 3/4 of an inch for the cuts, okay? Now, that's nothing that you have to stick with because you can see that these cards aren't exactly proportional to the dimension that I gave you, but it works. So, so just go with it, or you can make up your own. Anyways, I do not have the next project, by the way. I don't have, let me just put these little guys on display again here. I don't have the next project for next week, but I do want to use either the Stamparatus, which is a new tool that's coming out soon for all of us, or I want to use some embossing paste. So those are coming up somewhere in the next couple of videos, and hopefully I'll do one of those next week on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Let me take you out of the stand here. Oops.